What's up, guys? Ronnie back, this time with JustFlight's PA-28-181 Archer 3 for X-Plane 11. I had fun in this aircraft and enjoyed the beauty JustFlight put into it. However, it didn't take long to realize maybe not quite everything was as beautiful as the model. Let's dive in and find out in this JustFlight review. While on the subject of the modeling, you'll be happy to know that JustFlight gave us a shiny-looking aircraft complete with dynamic reflections. It also features subtle wear and tear attributes throughout that still give it an 80s vibe. We can see on the front nose cowling and on the propeller a little taste of that. With 10 liveries that share the amazing model work done by JustFlight, finding your favorite shouldn't be an issue at all. The way age is shown throughout, like on the wingtips in these livery shots, and the livery selection itself was actually one of my favorite aspects about this aircraft. Moving right into where the cool kids sit, you're met with the same dynamic reflections as before, as well as PBR materials, and a fully three-dimensional panel. One major difference in here than outside, though, is the lack of maybe age in here.
I mean, it is a 90s era aircraft.
And this is the only age that I've seen. Having a lack of age inside the cockpit wasn't necessarily a bad thing. I personally enjoyed the pristine looking interior. To go along with the model, you will need to fetch extra files for rain effects, though this is made easy using the PDF document link provided in the manual, as well as easy to follow instructions. More on these documents in just a second. For you adverse weather flyers, here is a little taste of these effects. As mentioned a second ago, let's talk documents. The in-sim checklist was a treat to use, as you could follow along and mark your spot as you went, and it really allows you to be able to fly by the book. From takeoff to landing, and even featuring common emergency procedures, the in-sim checklist has you covered for your adventures. You also get 2 PDF documents outside of the sim to refer to that are located in the aircraft's folder. The first is an ODM manual, or operating data manual. This contains all of your aircraft's performance tables from takeoff to ground rollout and everything in between. The other document is the operations manual. In this PDF, JustFlight outlined the systems, the panel, provide an out-of-sim checklist, as well as installation instructions, and a few other things they thought you might want to refer to when enjoying the fun in this Archer. Before we start up, let me briefly touch on the sounds. Overall, the sounds are good. Overall. There are a couple that are a little buggy sometimes, but overall the sounds are pleasant. And to demonstrate, let's listen to a startup. On the ground, the aircraft is easy to taxi, not at all a challenge to maintain a comfortable speed. I would like to note, though, that I did have to hold a little right rudder during taxi. This was in no wind and clear skies. That doesn't change the fact that this aircraft is very nimble on the ground. I mean, if you forget your wallet back at the car, just turn right back around and go get it. I found this maneuverability to really shine through in back taxi situations with maybe not the widest of runways. I think it's time now to get this aircraft lined up for takeoff to talk about the all-important flight dynamics. So I've done my run-up, and I'm going to turn right onto the center line of the runway here, and as I get onto the center line, I'm going to roll to full power and start the takeoff roll. On takeoff, it's exactly what you'd expect. touch of right rudder to keep center line, and a pinch more as the nose lifts off, and as smooth as a hot knife in butter, you are airborne. Once flying, it will become apparent that rudder trim is a must. Although it's not at all a hard aircraft to trim out, JustFlight made sure to at least mimic real-world dynamics. The Archer rewarded smooth control input. But even with being as smooth as I could, too many times did it feel like I was using too much rudder to roll out of a bank and stay coordinated. This is coming from over a decade of sim experience as well as being in and around real-world aircraft of similar type. The adverse yawing tendencies of this aircraft just seemed a bit excessive. Not ridiculous, just enough to notice. If you ever found yourself having a bad day in a stall situation, don't worry. I found I had quite a bit of aileron control still, even in a full stall. The aircraft just sort of floats down with the nose high. To recover from this, I simply released some of the back pressure I had on the yoke to hold the stall and slowly brought the nose back up to wings level flight. I could not at all get this aircraft to spin. It would start, but without even changing control inputs, it would recover itself as the nose went under. In this particular spin, I kicked full right rudder about halfway through and still recovered. I actually released that rudder pressure about the time I pulled the throttles back. And, well, that was a spin recovery with full right rudder. I had some awesome sightseeing adventures in JustFlight's Archer 3 here using Orbx's TrueEarth Great Britain. It's incredible when it comes to performance, and unfortunately every flight has to come to an end, hopefully with a landing. Approach to landing was pretty cut and dry. Upon touchdown, especially in windy conditions, you may experience, well... Of course, not all were like that. This one was a little to the right, but nonetheless a smooth touchdown. After landing at many different places, I can say without a doubt that this aircraft was fun to land every time, angry tires included. To wrap things up, let's talk about the price. This aircraft is $41.99 US plus tax where applicable. I think this is a little high for what you get. The flight dynamics seem simplified at times, and the circuit breakers function in almost a halfway kind of manner. Meaning, yes, they do trip after failing systems, which is awesome, but the electrical system doesn't seem linked at all as I pulled the GPS breaker and a few others with nothing happening to the respective systems. The plug fouling system is also halfway in my opinion, and here's how. When your plugs foul, your engine starts to run rough. That's a plus so far. Here's where it goes downhill. Doing a mag check in this situation reveals no one side is more fouled than the other. In fact, what you get is a normal roughly 100 RPM drop with each side. The clearing process isn't any better either because there isn't a real need to aggressively lean the mixture or high RPM. Some sounds are buggy or missing. That said though, I had fun sightseeing moments in JustFlight's Archer here using all of Orbx's TrueEarth Great Britain scenery. This aircraft is very easy on performance, and if you need to squeeze any more out of your system, you can turn off reflections in the windows and instruments. It's a simple airplane, no need to study or learn any of the systems to enjoy flying this aircraft. That said, I would have preferred the price to be in the $35 US rate. $41.99 seems too close to other more simulated aircraft on the market today. That said, I feel this aircraft deserves an FSElite review score of 7.0. As always guys, thanks for watching, and until next time.